All right, good morning. Good evening, good afternoon, my brothers and sisters over here at YouTube. Pastor Dow here. I think the greatest wisdom that I could probably impart to this generation, if someone would listen to me, if they would just really truly take heed to what I'm saying and really truly listen to me very closely, you'll see that in this assessment right here and what I'm saying, I'm pretty much right. The last video I did, it didn't take long for that video to get 30,000 views. And that's because I'm speaking to the hearts and I'm speaking to the minds of us collectively as a people. Now, I can't live life and do things for you, but what I can do is provide you the information, the tools, the know-how, because a lot of people is just simply not going to communicate what I communicate to you. So let's go ahead and get started with this. When we look at the structure of America, we know that historically everything that they have in the history books and everything that they've done is a lie. But I'm not talking about that this morning. I'm talking about something of greater importance. I want to make this video right here like this. Do not allow your children to be raised as system people. You hear what I said? Do not allow your children to be raised as system people. Now, you have to understand, in order for this to take place, there's a lot of changes, a lot of painful changes that you may have to make in order to preserve the future of your people, your children, your grandchildren, and all them. Because when you have to understand that growing up here in America, they have a system that is already in place, and they plan on you now. They plan on you getting to school into the hands of somebody else's hands, teaching and mindset. And keep you in there for a long, long time in order for you to be able to function the way that they call, quote unquote, good Americans. Well, in order to be able to function as good Americans, you have to embrace lies as truth. You have to go around and actually pretending like that you're happy when you're not. You have to believe what they cram down your throat, what they teach you. And in this, they are actually tooling around and messing around with your mindset. If you're going to make the attempt to not allow your children to be raised as system people, the first thing you got to do is get them out of the public food system. You've definitely got to get them out of the schooling that they have, because all they're going to learn from the curriculum is how to function in this world and in this society. And it could be contrary to your religious perspective, your beliefs, your upbringing, or whatever it is. But if you have morals, values, and you're very disturbed about what you see going on here in society in America, you have no choice but to come out of her. You have no choice but to separate yourself. And I know a lot of people don't believe this, but it's in the scriptures. It teaches you all throughout the scriptures to separate yourselves from the peoples of these lands so that you don't end up thinking like them, believing like them, and doing like them. And of course, we see perversion is on the rise. We see that everything is vying for the minds, is vying for the conscience of your people, your seed, your children. And remember, everything is all about the children. That's because the children is going to carry on the next generation, and the children is going to ensure the generation of the older people who've already done worked and put in the time to help to make this thing function. But myself personally think that you should try your best to get into a homeschool curriculum so that you're not influenced by the federal school curriculum. And they have different curriculums and different educational levels depending upon your geographical location as well. For instance, if you live in a ghetto, if you live in the inner city and you go to those schools, you're not going to get, your children are going to receive the same education as they would if they were out in the suburbs or if they were in a private school setting. There's a reason why people pay the extra money. But yes, it's going to cost you some money to homeschool your children. But at least one thing, what has been put into their mind. You want to shape them after you, your ideals, your belief systems, the way that you think, and not the way that this world thinks, because we see right now the confusion of this world and the decline is sick and cancerous as it is. The people today don't even know right from wrong. They do not even know left from right. And they cannot even really truly computer calculate or carry on an articulate conversation without getting into their emotions and communicating from their emotions. You know just as well as I do, one of the most dangerous things in the world is to communicate and utter everything that comes to your mind, because your emotions change just like the weather does. You don't know at any given moment or any given time if you're communicating the way you feel, if it's the right time to do it. But however, if you would teach your children, and that means you may have to bite the bullet, and biting the bullet means that you may have to change your mind and go back to a one income family set, and you may have to downgrade, downscale your current lifestyle in order to enjoy a real true family setting, because the alternative and what they're putting in front of us is extremely bad indeed. My suggestion is, and I'm only telling you, and the reason why I'm saying this, because what I'm telling you, I did many years ago. My wife and I, we homeschooled our children. We got them out of the school system at a very early elementary, because we saw the proverbial writing on the wall. Now that means at that time that I had to work 2, sometimes 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. But it was better for me to do that and allow my children to be able to be raised after the way I wanted them to be raised, rather than after the system and the way that the system wants it. Because once they get to college, you can go ahead and push the erase button. If they ever get to college, you can push the erase button, and everything that you've sown into them, it's gone. That's why I don't recommend so-called higher education or higher learning today for people. And the reason being is because they can set up and try to sell you the same thing they did with us. Well, if you go to school and you go do this, you'll get a better job. Basically what they're saying, if you go to school, you won't have to be out here cutting grass. You won't have to be out here sweeping lawns. You won't have to be out here waiting tables or doing somebody else's. But who told you that you had to do that? Why not just create your own little small business or do something else? Because even if you're a homeowner, you still want to cut grass. You still want to rake lawns. You still want to maintain your home, even if you have a little simple homestead. But the ideal is that they don't want you to do the menial tasks. They want you to do the tasks where you can sit behind a desk and boss around people and tell people what to do and all this other stuff just because you have education. That's like I told one of my so-called friends some time ago. You may have been a leader in the military because you went to school, but that doesn't translate to leadership out in the real world. Not at all. Because men don't follow titles. They follow strength. And I've been trying to lead this charge by example for a long time, but I had to do a lot of, I had to make a lot of choices and a lot of decisions. And I'm still making those choices and decisions, especially as I see the decline of society going on, because I simply don't want our children being influenced by what I see out here. It is very sick, it's very cancerous, it's very predatory, and I don't want them to be in that. But not only that, I want them to be able to be strong enough, smart enough, educated enough through the education system that myself and whoever fathers and mothers decides to follow me as my follow Messiah, to be able to communicate with them in such a way that they'll be able to know what evil is and what good is. Unlike this world today, they want you to make you to think, or they want you to think that everything is just que sera, whatever would be, would be. But the ideal is you're going to have to change your mind. You're literally, truly going to have to pick up a defibrillator, put it on your mind, and shock yourself half to death. Because what we see going on now is only going even further and further to death. But the less educated you are, and you gendered more towards entertainment, more towards fun, more towards foolishness and frivolity. When you go that way and stuff, the system out there that is already in play, especially through advertisements and TV and stuff, they already know how to play on the conscience because they have programmed you very well. But however, you can think outside the box if you're educated and taught the right way. And there's no greater teaching and no better teaching than when a father and a mother decides to teach their own seed, their own children, and bring them up in the way that they should go. And the way that they should go is the way that you would have them to go, and not the way America or any other country in this world would have them to go. Because your moral system, your value system is a hell of a lot different than what we see in society. And I tell you, there are times when I'm out and about just like I am now, and I start seeing some of the cultural changes for places I've been before, and it all but makes you want to throw up when you see what's going on. So, hey, living separate all of a sudden you ain't the cult no more, you know, and that's just another ploy that people would try to do to try to do something to persuade and change your mind because you're outside the norm. You know, the herd mentality has never, ever been the right mentality. Be content to go against wind and tide. Behest what the world and anybody else says. You're going to find out that you're more on the right side of history than they are. I hope I said something to stimulate thought. I had to get this off of my chest, just had to. I hope that you take to heart what I just said, pass this video around. And don't forget, look into some of my previous videos and try to come over and join up on my Patreon channel. I'll be back hot and heavy back in Patreon, hopefully by the beginning of next week. I want y'all all to stay encouraged, keep watching, keep listening, tell somebody else what I just said.